What's up, fellow day traders? So welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. Now, I've been away for a while now, right? But today I decided to spend my weekend with you guys so that we can look into the charts and see the opportunities that are lining up for the upcoming trading week. And believe me, there are a lot of insane opportunities lining up for next week, right? And so you might want to stick around to the end of this video, okay? So today we'll be talking about Euro USD, which is my favorite pair, and then gold, right? But before we step onto the chart, if you are not subscribed, to this channel, please hit that subscribe button, okay? And turn on post notifications so that you don't miss out on other future important videos like this one. So without wasting much time, let's step onto the chart and let's see what we have for the upcoming trading week. So welcome back to the chart, guys. So we are going to start with gold on the higher time frame. Right now I am going to make this as simple and straightforward as possible, okay? So you might really want to pay attention. So real quick, here on gold, right, all I'm looking for is my immediate swing high that created my swing low, or my immediate swing low that created my swing high. In this case, we can see that price is in what? We are in an uptrend right in here, okay? So this is my low, okay, that created my high. Once I have marked this, I know that my focus is going to be inside this leg right in here, okay? Whatever is happening in here, I don't really care about that much. So currently this is what I'll be focused on, right? And what can I see? I can see a beautiful break of structure right in here, which means I'm gonna have a certain level of demand right in here. This be like future thing, price is not gonna come here right now, probably next week, next 2 weeks, or some few months to come, right? Then once I have this, I can now begin to ask myself what price was doing in here. Now in here, I am looking at this price action in two ways. The first one is this one. So we have this low which created this high, and then we have this one which created this one. That is the first way. The second way to look at this is to quickly step into H4 time frame and watch it properly, which will now have something like this low creating this high, this one right in here creating this high, because we took out this particular one, okay? So we're gonna have this retracement that created that one, and then we now have this one which created this one, which means now we have an internal break of structure right in here, okay? And once we have this internal break of structure, again, my focus will now shift from this whole leg that we marked to this one, okay? So now I'll be dealing with just this high to this low, okay, after this break of structure. Now if we've had price like this, right, after taking out this low over here, then it means there's going to be some area of interest right in here that we can watch, right? And this means that we can have price do something like this. We can have price come into this region before we drop down, right? But before price will come into this region, we must see certain things happening, okay? So right in here, what I'm going to do is I have my high to my low in focus. I'm not going to look at the internal structure within the structural leg to see what it is doing, right? So right in here within internal structure, what I can see is I can see this beautiful high right in here which created this low. So again, my focus has shifted from everything in here to just this little price action. The reason is because if price is going to come up here, we need to break this part. And even if price is supposed to come down there, we're supposed to break this part. So once we are trapped inside this kind of a swing leg, this is going to be our trading range, our focus trading range, okay? So real quick, I can step onto, let's say, H1, that is my intraday time frames, to see what price is doing, right? So right in here we can see a very beautiful, like a point of interest where price already tapped. Then within this point of interest, right, price was looking kind of crazy, but I'll still break it down. So right in here, what I saw was we had this beautiful break of structure, another break of structure, and now we have this break of structure, which means we have this high to this low creating this push to the downside. Now another thing that can be seen over here is we have this beautiful point of interest over here like this as our supply. Then there is also another one in there right? Which, let's say when we step onto 30 minutes, you're going to see, even though it's visible on H1, but this is going to act as like a decisional point of interest for me within this leg. Okay, so it means that I can expect price to come into any of these zones and then we can get a reaction. And currently we can see price reacting inside this decisional point of interest, which means that we can expect price to start moving from here all the way to the downside to come to this low. In fact, I've been expecting price to come to this low for a very long time, like for the whole of last week, right? So real quick, let's see what price is doing and how we can interpret it to get very good trades. So right in here, you realize that even before we tapped into this decisional supply, we had this two beautiful wicks in here creating like some sort of like relatively equal highs. So you can see this as liquidity. That's fine, which means we grab liquidity with this wick. Then the most beautiful thing about what happened in here is after we grab this highs over here with this wick, we had this beautiful change of intent. Okay, and right in here what we can also see is that price retraced, right, and then we started making the push to the downside. Now this is what can happen. We can have two scenarios right in here. We can have price actually pushing up a little bit more before dropping, okay, or when the market opens we're gonna have price doing this. Now once we break this low, what I'll be expecting is for price to come into levels like this one right in here, and then we can continue the move to the downside. Now there are some other people who are also going to see this as a break of structure. Okay, now if they see this as a break of structure, then it means that this area in here is going to be a level of demand for them, because they're going to see this as a high, low, and high. You get what I'm saying? So it means that this level in here is going to be what? A level of demand for them to watch, a point of interest or whatever you call it. So one thing about me is, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I hardly take point of interest from Asian highs or Asian lows. So if they're going to mark this as their level of demand, then the story will now align with my sell story, because once this point of interest is in contact or is in confluence with the Asian low, I can expect price to beautifully take this out, which means we are still in the sell story. However, in this case, because they are looking at this as an uptrend, this is going to be like a counter trend trade to this point. So these are the two ways to look at this: as a sell story where price is reacting from a decisional POI to come clear these lows and further to clear these lows, right? Or you are looking at these internal structures as a bullish trend, right? We are in a bearish trend though, but then you are looking at this as the internal structure being bullish, which means you're going to get a counter trend trade into these levels. And the funny thing is, this level right in here is in confluence with Asian low, which means we can take it out. Right now, what can happen is we might not necessarily take this one out like this and continue to the downside. That is if we are maintaining the bullish move, right? But what can happen is that when we take this one out, we're going to have this as liquidity being grabbed, and then price may continue to the top. Okay, but with me personally, what I'm expecting is I want to see price, let's say, push down. Let me clean this stuff. So with me personally, what I want to see is when the market opens, I want to see price either break this low, okay, retrace back into certain levels to give us some beautiful sells all the way to the downside, or we're gonna have a little push to the upside like this, where we can refine this wick on M1, then we can get a very beautiful like entry right in there to now sell price back down to clear all of these lows and then further into these lows down there, right? So this is what I'll be looking at on gold, right? Real quick, let's step onto EURUSD and let's see what that one is also presenting to us. So the same way on EURUSD, we're going to start on a higher time frame, okay, on a daily time frame. Now on the daily time frame, real quick, I can see this low right in here which created this beautiful high. So all of these price actions here, I'm just going to ignore. The reason is because if we are going to come down here, we need to break this low. However, I understand that there are certain levels in here that you must mark, and one of them is this particular low over here, which happens to be a previous weekly low, right? Good. Now once I have this low, this high in focus, I'll now start looking at what the internal structures are doing. As simple as that. So I can now step onto H4 and let's see what price is doing right in there. So this is how I've been looking at price action for a while now. I had this particular last low, this guy over here, which created a high over there, right? And we can see that it has been taken out beautifully, okay, like this. Now once I have this taken out, then it means that I have a level of supply somewhere right in here, which means we can expect price to do this and drop back. But again, before price will even come up here, we must break certain levels. And this was how I was defining my internal structures. Now you can see that this is the last low, right, that created this high, right, and we took out this low right in here. So this is what I was doing. I had this high which created this low. I had this little high over there, not so much of a deeper retracement, but I don't care, it's still valid for me, right, according to my system. So I have this high which created this low, and now I have this one which created this particular one. So it means that now I'll be focused on this leg to this particular low right in here. And the reason is very simple, simply because we're gonna have price either respecting, there are two levels in here. We have a decisional POI here, which also happens to be a previous zone of the intraday leg, which I call a reactive demand zone, and then this one is going to be the origin POI right there. So we can have price reacting from this decisional and reactive zone and dropping down. Okay, the reason why I ended here is because we can respect this guy and continue up. Okay, but all I want you to know is that before we're going to push up, we need to break this high. If we don't break this high, we're not pushing up. If you don't break this low, we are not pushing down. As simple as that. Once I have this, all I'm supposed to do is just focus on this leg and see what the internal structure is doing inside there. Okay, now what can happen is this: we can have price just respecting this, like I said, and then we're going to drop down into this POI right in here of the daily structure, right, before we can see whatever price will do next. Or we can have price holding on to the bullish momentum created on intraday basis, and then we're going to push a little bit further up. Now, because I am aware that there is a supply zone right in here, okay, a point of interest right in here, I'll still be monitoring what the intraday bullish moves will be saying, because like I said, we can have this come right in here, give a little reaction, and then the bulls will still hold, and we're going to break structure to the top. Or when the price tap into the supply, the bulls may be weak, the bears may be introduced into the market, and then we're going to have a change of intent of the intraday structure, right? So now that I've been able to define this particular high that created this low, I can now step onto intraday and see whatever I am looking at. Now right in here, okay, we have this beautiful change of intent. That is when the intraday decided to switch from bearish to a bullish move. Okay, so this is a beautiful change of intent, and currently we can see that we have also had another break of structure right after the change of intent, which means the intraday bulls are still in the market. So beautiful break of structure. Now once we have this, I am aware that this is my last low that created my high, so I gotta look for my point of interest within that area, okay, which is this guy over here. So this is going to be my level of demand, and I'm going to mark that beautifully. So demand. Now this is what it means. It means that we can have price trickling down into this intraday areas, and then we're going to push up, right? But don't forget, I forgot another zone. There is actually another point of interest somewhere around these areas, okay, which also led to the break of structure of this high and then of the high as well. So these are the two zones that I will be looking at on the intraday, right? Even though I can see this guy over here, I'll just watch it with my eye. So this will be the real two zones that I'll be looking at. Now once I have this one in focus, it means that I can have price trickling down, like I said, into either this decisional or this origin before we can get a push to the top, or we can even break all of these and we're gonna have the intraday switch back to bearish to continue the bearish move, right? But then right in here, I'm just going to stick to whatever price is preaching to me, which is this low creating this high. Now once I have this, again, internal structure real quick. So right in here, what I can see is this, very simple. I can see price taking out this beautiful low right in here on M5, this one right in here. So we have something like this high which created low, and we have this beautiful high which has created this potential low. I'm saying potential low because the lower time frames has not done anything like something like this to tell you that this leg is done. Okay, so now I have this high to this potential low. Now this is what I can expect. When the market opens, I can expect this high to be taken out. Okay, now when this high is taken out, it means that this leg is completed and we are now beginning a retracement into certain levels. Now, even within this leg, we have 2 points of interest that you need to watch. We have one right in here. That is, if I go to M5, that'll be simple. So we're gonna have this one up here, and we're gonna have this one right in here again, decisional and origin, which means price can react from this decisional and drop, or we're gonna get to the higher one and drop back. You understand? So that is what I'll be looking at now. Another thing that you should also watch all the time, if you're analyzing the market, you need to be scouting around for liquidity pools and all those stuff. So right in here, we can see a very beautiful equal highs right in here, which means I'm going to pay attention to it, because we can have price actually coming all the way up, grabbing this liquidity and dropping, or even after grabbing this liquidity, we can continue the move to the upside, depending on what the momentum is saying, right? But currently, just for the sake of whatever price has presented to me, I am just going to pay attention to the liquidity that has been built in there. I'll just mark it down and see how price will react. And I'm gonna have this zone from M5 marked as origin, okay, and the one below it somewhere right in here as decisional. Personally, I'll prefer price to react from this decisional, because the moment it moves higher, we are coming for this guy, and you can see what lies here as well. So I'll prefer price to react from right in here, but I'm not the one who control price. So you just see how price will react. If price gives us a good reaction from this point, why not? We can just go for it. If that is the case, then it means that when we drop from here to this point, it is going to be a very good reference to say that price is just going to move from here and come grab all of this liquidity that has been built right in here. Okay, so yeah, so this is what I'll be looking at on EURUSD and on gold for the upcoming trading week. I wish you all the best in the upcoming trading week. Make some profit, make some money, take care of the family, have fun, and yeah, I'll see you within the week for another insightful video.